Hello and welcome to Breeders' Cup Show number 1 on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thanks for joining me this Wednesday night. We have a great lineup for the next 2 weeks covering the Breeders' Cup exclusively right here. I've got my shirt, I've got my hat. We're all ready to go for the Breeders' Cup. I've got the purple colors for the Breeders' Cup. I am very excited. Thanks for joining me tonight on the HHH Racing Podcast. Please make sure you subscribe right there on the right side of the screen. If you've not subscribed, our subscription list continues to go up. Let's keep that going. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when all the new content will rise, including, of course, the special Breeders' Cup show, as today is going to be the first one. Also, you can subscribe right there on the Race Day blog. All the information is there. It's on using Patreon, but also you can go below the video player. Below the video player, in the description, you can go there and check out information on how you can subscribe to the Race Day blog. We're going to have a huge blog with great information for the Breeders' Cup. If you've not subscribed, I highly recommend you do that. Where to follow me? You can see on my name tag. You can follow me on Twitter at HKravitz. On the name tag, you can also email me. You can see on the bottom scroll there, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Again, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Also, you can see right there on the live stream, our next live show will be a week from tonight. Here's what's happening with the Breeders' Cup, for those of you that do not know. And again, if you're joining me live, please make sure on the top right-hand side of the screen, you start chatting. Let's have a lot of questions, a lot of commentary with our guests who will be on here momentarily. But we want a lot of comments in the live chat so we can start our Breeders' Cup preliminary discussion. But you can see on the bottom of the screen, here's what's happening with the Breeders' Cup. So on Monday, Breeders' Cup will be accepting the pre-entries. So pre-entries are due Monday for the Breeders' Cup. A week from today, Wednesday, they're going to be made public. The pre-entries for each race will be made public. Of course, we will still not know at that time who exactly is in the races, but we'll have a good idea on who is looking to go into the races, including cross entries and whatnot. Then on Monday, November 2nd, the Monday of Breeders' Cup week, they'll be drawing all 14 races for the Breeders' Cup, and then you'll know post positions. You'll know exactly who will be in the Breeders' Cup races. So very excited for all of that information to come out. A guest who I'm still waiting for. He is not here yet. If he is watching, Magic, if you're watching, you should have all the information that you need to get on to the show. So I'm assuming Magic will be coming on here backstage very soon, and we'll get Magic on from the Magic Mike show to join us. But here's what's going to happen tonight. We're going to talk about all 14 races, but very briefly. It's going to be a Q&A. It's going to be one question that myself and Magic we're going to talk about for each race. It could be about a particular horse. It could be about the history of the race or anything in general. We're going to be talking about this year's Breeders' Cup, one question from each race. So that is going to be the topic. And it looks like, hold on just one second here. We're going to, I've got something from, okay, hold on just one second, folks. Looks like I sent, I guess, the wrong StreamYard. So hold on just one second here, folks. We are doing this live. Hold on just one second, folks. We're going to get Curtis on here. And all right. So apparently I screwed that up. So I greatly apologize. It is not Curtis's fault. So Curtis will be on any minute. Magic, I'm sure you can hear me. Greatly apologize for that, Magic. Completely my fault. There he is. I'd say it's an amateur mistake. I say there he is, folks. You can't see him. He's backstage right now laughing at me with every right, every right to do so. I'd say it's an amateur mistake. I could honestly say to Magic that is the first time ever screwed that one up. So Magic's the lucky winner of that one. We're gonna bring Magic on here in just 1 second, folks. Like I said, we're gonna talk about our a one question from each particular race, and then we're also gonna learn a lot more about our guests, which we're gonna bring on right now. So without further ado, from California, from the Magic Mike Show. Now that he has the correct link to get on the show, I'd like to bring on Magic. Magic, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm better now. Thank you. I was sitting there for a few minutes going, man, Howard's never late, and it's after 5. I haven't heard from him, and all of a sudden I realized that you had a live thing going, and I was like, I'm not on it. Uh-oh. So, hey, it happens.
Completely apologize. Very sorry about that.
All right.
How you doing tonight? How are things going out there in California? Are you pumped up? You see I got my Breeders' Cup hat. I got my shirt. Where's right there? And hold on a second. Just came. I don't know if you saw on Twitter. Just came this morning. Here you go, Magic. Let's go.
Nice.
VIP horse player. And the tickets. I'm ready to roll, Magic.
Yeah, I recognize the BC ticket there. My co-host Mike Samich has got a couple of those. He was showing me. Yeah, we're getting I get a press pass. I don't get it till about I think the day or two beforehand, so
okay.
I have to sit and wait for my goodies. But no, I'm very excited. You've got your Breeders' Cup regalia. I have a collection of Breeders' Cup hats myself. I get one for each year since I've started following the sport. So I got to build a spot right here for the next one. We'll see who I end up getting, but it's a lot of fun. No, I'm so excited. The Breeders' Cup. This is all I've been thinking about for better part of a month now, and a couple months, and yeah, it's just gonna ramp up from here. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it.
So we got to hook up maybe with the Del Margaritas are what, $20 or whatever, $30 they're going to be. Where are you going to be? Are you going to be in the press box, or where are you going to be hanging out at Del Mar over the weekend there?
That is a great question. When we were there 4 years ago, the Racing Dudes team isn't as big as, say, your Blood Horse or your Daily Racing Form. So we were put in the annex, which we were literally on the roof of the 5th floor. Like on top of the 5th floor, just hanging out on the roof. They had a nice little tent set up there, and we were back there with the fun people, all the old farts that cover the sport and are kind of boring. They were in the press box. We were allowed to cheer and go wild in the tent. So I don't know. We usually kind of bounce around. We go where the drinks are at. So you can usually find us at a bar, and then especially for the Classic, we always have to sit down, and we go down to the rail. No matter what's happening, we're down on the rail for the Classic, because that is just such a great race.
Perfect. Well, if you're gonna be near a bar, you're my kind of guy. I know we'll get in touch with each other in the next 2 weeks, and we'll find a way to hook up and have a beverage. So, Magic, again, thanks for joining us tonight. I know a lot of people are familiar with you, but there are people watching my show that are maybe not familiar with yourself. So, very quickly, you'll see questions on the bottom of the screen. Just one quick intro, and then we'll get into our famous 10 minutes of post, quick Q&A, and then we'll get right into the Breeders' Cup questions. So, Magic, first of all, where are you from originally, and then how did you get involved into horse racing and podcasts?
Sorry, I'm just realizing how bad my hair looks. I'm really sorry. I did shower today. I need to get
no one cares. It's a horse racing podcast.
That's true. I need to put on one of my Breeders' Cup hats like you did. Originally from Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan, to be specific. I didn't get into horse racing until probably it was 2015. I knew that the Kentucky Derby existed. I knew that horses ran in a circle. I actually come a little bit from a motor racing background. I raced open wheel cars when I was younger.
Oh, wow.
So okay. I'm used to that. When what I was doing, we do 20, 30 laps. You branching out stock cars in the bigger races, they're doing 500 laps. Horses are doing half a lap. I'll admit, I initially thought it was pretty lazy. I was like, it's a half a lap. That's all they can do. I completely understand everything now, but I moved to California in, it was 2012. My now wife and I had started dating, and she moved out here to be in film. So she actually works in the television industry now, but I followed after her. And then with the first job I got, the boss and I really clicked, and we became Vegas buddies, so we went to Vegas a lot. And when we were there, he introduced me to a friend of his. All three of us were from Michigan, and he's like, yeah, he's playing ponies over at the Rio. And I didn't know what it was. So this is the guy who taught me the form, how to read it, how to place a bet. Got me hooked that day. I came back for the Breeders' Cup a few months later. Lost more money than I've ever lost gambling in my life. The only
And you've
winning,
never talked to him since, right?
the only win I had the entire weekend was American Pharoah to win the Classic. I only knew this horse had won the Triple Crown, so he must be pretty good. And my friend who I'd been playing all of his bets with him, hadn't gotten anything right all week, and he said, "Don't bet American Pharoah. He's going to lose." So I took the last $200 that I had in my pocket and put it on American Pharoah to win the Classic. No, he and I are great friends. He's actually part of the Racing Dudes team. I've been a long time fan of ours too. But
Of course.
yeah, so that's how I got started into horse racing, and then I realized that my friend, as much as I love him as a human being, wasn't the best for teaching me horse racing and betting. So I started looking for free advice wherever I could, and the Racing Dudes have all free picks, a free win pick for every single race, every single track around the country. And they were pretty responsive on social media. I had a lot of, I would say now are very dumb amateur questions, but they responded to all of them. I got to meet them at the Breeders' Cup when it was held out in Santa Anita in 2016?
Right.
And yeah, so I got to meet them. Had a great time with them. And then a few months later was like, hey, I have a strong English background. I love writing. You guys know everything about horse racing. I think I can help you improve your site a little bit if you just, can I just work for you for free? I just want to help edit your stuff, punch it up a little bit. And I'm thinking this is my way to kind of get my foot in the door here because at the time I was managing luxury condos and paid well and I was miserable. So I was trying to figure out something that was passionate. So I got to know them and they said, yeah, sure. You want to work for free and make our site better? Come on. And that was early 2017. And yeah, I became their first full-time employee beyond just the two owners in April of 2020, right as the pandemic hit. So let me tell you, moving, starting a new job, and the entire world shutting down at the same time, great timing.
Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, it's luck and timing, right? It means so much in this world. And by the way, if you're fans of the Magic Mike Show, welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast. Please type in questions on the top right-hand side of the screen. We're going to have a very active chat, I'm sure, as we start getting into the Breeders' Cup races. All right, so appreciate the background. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump right in. It's a segment that I created. Don't steal it. I've got a copyright. No, I don't have it copyrighted. But I think it's pretty clever. It's been very popular with all my guests. It is called 10 Minutes to Post. 10 minutes to post. I don't have a, reveille music. I know you guys have the music and all that stuff. I don't. I just have the question. So, Matt, this is going to be 10 rapid fire. So literally 10, 15-second answers. Because as much as people want to find out about I know a lot of people want to get into the Breeders' Cup. So here we go. We're going to go 5 horse racing questions and 5 non-horse racing questions. Magic has no idea what's going to pop up on the screen. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready. I have no idea, but let's do it.
As I've told people, this is not, this is serious pod. This is like the 60 minutes of horse racing podcast. So we're going to get serious. Here we go. First question. What was the first moment you fell in love with horse racing?
Oh, God. That first time I was in Rio, because my friend, as bad as we did at the Breeders' Cup, he hit 12 winners in a row. We made bank. We made a lot of money. So that's what got me hooked, that beginner's luck.
All of a sudden, this is better than kart racing, all of a sudden, when you see the green flowing every 15 minutes.
Exactly, yeah.
Horizontal or vertical better, and then your best score. You, of course, don't have to give us the dollar amount, but, maybe what track it was or what kind of bet it was.
I'm definitely a pick 4 better. Pick 3, pick 4 for myself. I love rolling pick 3s. I think that's a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun for 50 cents at a time at the track. Best score, I was originally a Racing Dudes customer before I was an employee, and I bought their picks for Belmont Park one day and just did a bunch of superfecta boxes. And one of them I accidentally punched in for $2 instead of 20 cents. Yeah, that was my best score.
It's always the typo. The typo is always the one that pays big, right? It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. That was my best score. It was,
Wow.
Yeah.
A $2
it was very
super.
nice.
That is very nice.
Yep.
Bucket list track or race day event you'd like to attend in the world?
Okay. If he runs again next year, bucket list, I want to go see Pink Lloyd at Woodbine. I've fallen in love with Woodbine as a track. Yeah. And I've never been to Saratoga. So that's me telling you that. I love Woodbine. I love Pink Lloyd. If he runs again next year, I definitely want to go see him. Aaron Halterman of the Racing Dudes and I were supposed to go see him last year. Pandemic said no. Tried to go see him this year. Scheduling didn't work out. So hopefully he runs again next year.
For those of you who are not familiar with Pink Lloyd, he's just a complete freak sprinter who's won a zillion races on the synthetic there at Woodbine. Just a really fun, actually classy horse. I wish he's never raced in the Breeders' Cup, did he? I wish he did. They were considering, I know, maybe it was last year or 2 years ago, but they decided not to come. I've never been to Woodbine either. By the way, you said you've been to Woodbine, just not to see Pink Lloyd. Is
No,
that
I've
correct?
never been to Woodbine.
Oh, you've never been to Woodbine.
Yep.
Okay, and I've never been to Saratoga. I think we need to have a HHH Racing Podcast / Thoroughbred Racing Dudes reunion at Saratoga at the Spa next summer. We'll have to talk about that because I'd love to go there as well. For me, by the way, it's the Melbourne Cup. There's a bunch of places I haven't been. The Melbourne Cup, it's the race that stops the nation, of course. Supposedly, Magic puts the Kentucky Derby to shame. The Kentucky Derby is like a cocktail party, apparently, compared to the Melbourne Cup. So anyway, I'd love to go there one day. Most memorable horse racing event ever attended?
It's funny. This is the hat I was going to sneak on if I had a chance. First Breeders' Cup I went to was 2017 at Del Mar. This is Paquita Coqueta. She actually didn't make the field. She was an also eligible, so that's why I had able to get that hat. No, it was the first time that I really was like, it was the first time I was ever at the track with the dudes. Saratoga Slim was there. Ryan Stillman, who does all of our audio stuff for like the podcast, he was there. And it was the first time that I really went, oh my, I don't know if we can swear on your show, so I'll keep it clean.
Go ahead.
I was like, oh my goodness. This is amazing. How do I do this? How do I do more of this? Because at the time I was just a fan and just kind of working pro bono. Yeah. And then that was when it clicked. I was like, it got me hooked and juiced up and really wanted to dive into the sport.
If Vic Stauffer can swear on my show, you can certainly swear on my show. It doesn't happen too often, but it is allowed. If you feel the need, go ahead. Favorite horse all time and why?
Songbird. Songbird won the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Don't at me.
Wait a minute.
No, she really did. No, Songbird really is my favorite horse of all time.
She lost.
No, she didn't.
Yes,
That's a lie.
I know she lost because I cashed my pick 4 ticket to Beholder for like 2,000. So that was it's so funny you said that. I swear you're not the only person that said that photo is still effed up. I know Songbird won. Crazy. Tell that to Gary Stevens, by the way. That fantastic race. If you had Songbird, that tough loss there, but one of the better Breeders' Cup races I think we've seen in the last 10 years, I would say.
Also, Tis a Magician, because I own a small percentage of him, and I own a lot of different horses through my racehorse. That's my favorite. Tis a Magician, the nickname Magic. We've been like this from the start, and I've gotten to like pet him and actually like hold his shank and walk him a little bit. So he's my favorite one in training. But Songbird, that's the first one that really got me.
Okay, Tis a Magician running in what used to be called the Breeders' Cup Marathon race, I believe, in 2 weeks, correct? All right.
You betcha.
All right. Now we're going to get into 5 non-sports racing questions. So I have to, of course, ask the best non-horse racing sports event you've ever attended.
So big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I got my terrible towel up there.
Right.
When I did an internship in Florida, and I was there in 2000. Oh shoot, what year was that? 2009, 2010. Whenever it was, the Steelers were in Tampa for the Super Bowl. I literally 3 days before I found out, I was living in Orlando, found out I had the day off, asked the girl I was dating at the time, and asked my friend, I was like, you guys want to go to the Super Bowl? We hopped in the car that morning, got 2 cases of beer, a bunch of snacks, and footballs, and we just drove to Tampa.
Wow.
And we didn't buy tickets. We just tailgated for 5 hours in front of the stadium and then found a bar to watch the game in. Amazing experience, and then the Steelers, of course, won the Super Bowl, so that was great. Wow,
that's a great story. That sounds like fun.
I was right there.
Name something that people don't know about Mike Samich, and we'll keep this PG. we'll keep this PG for those that don't know Mike. Mike is the co-host with Magic, good friend of his, of course, and excellent handicapper, well known. Maybe something. Let's keep it a positive. Something that people don't know about Mike that people will be like, "Wow, really? I didn't know that."
Oh boy.
He's gonna be watching this, Magic. So be careful.
We're usually very transparent on our show. I'm trying to think of something that people don't know. Mike's a pretty big softie. I don't know if that comes across, but Mike has a young daughter. I want to say she's 3. That is just absolutely adorable. But as a dad, I see him. He's very much a softie around certain things. He doesn't really show that. He's usually pretty good at keeping that facade up. So yeah, Mike Samich is a big old softie at heart.
Oh, that's awesome. By the way, you got a comment from Gemini. Mentioned about Pink Lloyd here. I think Pink Lloyd actually has raced outside Woodbine. No, every race has been to Woodbine. Is that right?
Every single race.
He knows. Okay, good call, Gemini. You are correct. How many wins does he have, by the way? Do you know off the top of your head since you're such a big fan?
I want to say it's 25.
That's unbelievable.
26. It's to the point where they've run out of graded stakes races that he hasn't won multiple times. Like, he's won graded stakes races 2, 3, 4 years in a row.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of I don't follow Woodbine Susan. I'm sure you can, like, was it the Vigil, or you could probably name like every single race that he's won multiple times, right? Crazy.
We'll do it next show.
Yeah. We have 3 more questions. Then we're gonna get to the Breeders' Cup, folks. Favorite athlete growing up? Let's say before you were 10 years old, single digits.
Yep, diehard Detroit Red Wings fan. Hockey is my first love in life. My favorite player is Steve Yzerman, who runs the team. Slava Kozlov wore number 13, which was my favorite number when I was a little kid. So, those were my 2 favorite athletes. But pretty much anybody who played for the Red Wings is the answer.
I remember going to the old Chicago Stadium. I know I've got you by a bunch of years, but going to the old Chicago Stadium and purposely booing against Stevie Yzerman, I'll tell you, it's not the same because the Red Wings just haven't been as good, and the Hawks been up and down. But that rivalry back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. I mean, you want to talk about fans going nuts at each other at those games. I've been to Joe Louis once, by the way, when it was Joe Louis for a Red Wing Blackhawk game. Crazy, absolutely nuts. Great rivalry, fun teams to watch.
Fans hate each other more than the players. It's like OU, Texas.
Yeah.
The fans hate each other more than the players do.
If you're Chicago, and honestly, I really think it's bigger than the Packers-Bears at its highest point. I mean, the hatred was just over the top. Yeah. I guess you just answered that question. Favorite sports team, is it still right now the Red Wings then?
It is, always and forever. Yeah, they're on the upswing now. So I'm hoping, I have a 5-month-old son, and I'm hoping that right when I was born, the Red Wings were terrible, and they did this. So the Red Wings were terrible when he's born, and I hope they do this. They won on the day he was born. They won, and I took that as an omen. So
that sounds like that sounds like a very good omen for sure. All right, last question, and I want to give you a chance to promote also while you're here, and you don't have to give any big secrets, but. Talk a little bit about the Thoroughbred Dudes, and do you have any long-range plans that you can see for the podcast? Feel free to talk for a minute about just what the podcast is about, where you guys, where you see yourself, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years from now with the podcast.
It's funny. We had a 2-hour meeting, the staff meeting today, where we talked to.
I heard. I had the secret camera on. I know the. No, I'm just kidding. That is funny though.
You were that 5th black box on the call. We couldn't figure
exactly.
It out.
Like, wait, I've never seen this thing before. What's that? And it says HK on the side of it. Anyway.
So over at racingdudes.com, it's we have free picks, like I said, for every race, every track across the country. Really what we do is we're big on selling premium products. So if you are a horizontal bettor, we have certain products for that. If you're a vertical bettor, we have certain products for that. So it doesn't matter. If you just want to play win bets, it doesn't cost you a dime. You can go there and get that information. As far as that, we have Mike Samich with the Samo Bombs. He's great if you're a big money player. If you like taking big swings, his hit rate is a little small, but his ROI is very high. So it's one of those things that's depending on what style you like to play and how much risk you like to have, we've got you covered with everybody. And then what we're looking to do is we're going to start trying to integrate a lot more video stuff into the Racing Dudes website. So a lot more quick hit stuff, 3-5 minute things here and there. Yeah. Just trying to mix things up. Things have been a little stagnant on our site for content-wise for a while, and we're all kind of generally feeling like we need to change things up. So we're hoping to change that up. The big thing that we're working on right now is each month we sell a wagering guide. So it's an in-depth preview of every single race on a card. So right now we're getting ready for the Breeders' Cup, so that's of course going to be our next wagering guide. But what those are is literally every race we break down horse by horse and tell you what their strengths are, their weaknesses, and then you get our expert handicapper, Aaron Holtzman, who's one of the co-owners, tells you exactly what bets to play. We also have this new feature that that he and Jared Welch, who's the other co-owner, they started doing. I can't remember if it was last Breeders' Cup. I think it was last year's Breeders' Cup. It's a live bankroll because people have understandably accused us of not playing our bets or saying, well, you just sell this stuff, but you're not doing it. The live bankroll that's contained within these guides is literally what the guys, Aaron and Jared, play when they go to the track. Because what we do as a team is we usually just combine our money and play our biggest opinions together. They've turned a ridiculous ROI just playing straight through off of what they do. So it's been fun for me to learn as a handicapper about pressing your opinions. And, if you follow it to the T, you're putting $100, $200 to win on a horse. And I'm a small budget player. So when I'm doing that, I'm just going, but
Right.
it pays out, so it works pretty well. So that's what we've got at Racing Dudes, and of course, just like what we're doing, Howard, lots of Breeders' Cup talk and previews coming up. So after you subscribe to this channel, if you haven't yet, go over to Racing Dudes, subscribe to us after this video is over.
Yeah, please do. And what I like, I reached out to Magic and Mike a few months ago, and they were busy with the summer and took us a while to sort of hook up. But, they feel the same way I do, guys. Like, we're not competing against each other, right? Let's get as many fans as possible into horse racing, whether they watch my show, Racing Dudes, both, whatever. My viewership has increased since I was on your show. Hopefully it'll be the reverse after you're on this show. Although I did do pretty well on your show. We're not gonna look up the scoreboard. I think I had that pick 4 on your show. It didn't pay a lot. I'm not gonna do cartwheels over it.
It's a profit.
Listen, it did pay. I ended up being a little bit chalky, but I didn't know what the morning lines were. But what I want to get to real quick, what I'm trying to say is, what I like about you and the guys in your show is you look for that ROI. Anyone can pick chalks, right? Anyone can pick the obvious. You guys look out of the box like I do. I've given a lot of like double-digit scores on this show. I know you've done the same on your show. So we have to. The whole idea is to make money, right? If you want to, just bet 6 to 5 shots all day, feel free. But that's not what we're about. We're trying to have the best ROI possible. And listen, it's called gambling for a reason. You got to take some chances, and that's what we do. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. We have a bunch of people watching, ready to, I'm sure, ask a lot of questions. And folks, here's what we're going to do. We're going to, like I said, let me take off the question here. What we're going to do is I'm going to bring up, and I didn't prep Magic on this, but I'm going to bring up Odds Checker. I think it's it's a European site. I'm sure Magic is aware of it. And the reason why I want to bring up Odds Checker, everyone, is they have anti-post bettings. They future odds on Breeders' Cup races. Now, I want to keep a few things in mind as we go through this, folks. Number one, we do not know exactly who's going into the races. Magic, before you came on, I already explained to the viewers about the pre-entries and whatnot and cross-entries. So we don't know, of course, who's going to be in. So you're going to see horses on the screen, folks, that we know for a fact are not running, and the odds are pretty much bogus. And I'm sure Magic did his homework. And listen, there's 14 races, folks, and there's like 175 horses that could be going. So we don't have every single answer. I know I've got some info in front of me. I'm sure Magic has some info as well. So we'll do the best we can to give you updates, folks, on who might be going and who may not be going. But we are not going to be like looking at PPs tonight. We're not going to do like very specific handicapping because we don't know who's in and we don't know post position. So these are going to be very general questions, Magic. But I still think we're going to get a lot out of our conversation. So let me go ahead and share the screen here, and we're going to go in a specific order. And you can see we're going to start with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And what you're going to see, Magic, you're going to see, of course, let me take the banner off the screen here too. You're going to see, of course, the Odds Checker odds, but then you're also going to see a question on the bottom of the screen that we're going to discuss literally just for a few minutes, Magic, because we do have 14 races to cover, and as much as I probably would love to talk for 5 hours, I don't think our fans would appreciate that. So, first question about the Juvenile in particular. How much do you value two-turn experience with the 2-year-olds? And the heavy favorite looks like to me Jack Christopher. He's only gone 1 turn. Talk about your opinion a little bit on 2-turn versus 1 turn, and maybe a little bit about Jack Christopher specifically.
Yeah, so I don't. The experience, of course, is valuable. It's not like it's not valuable, but it's not the be all end all. I think it's just as much, if not more important, to look at the pedigree and how did they finish, how did they run, did they look like they could keep going and handle that around 2 turns. And that second part is really not something that you can do just easily. You really have to kind of own that skill and listen to a lot of experts. One thing that I pride myself on is I'm not the smartest person anywhere close to being the smartest person in a room, but I'm really good at listening and figuring out who is smart. So that's one thing that I learned.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dave. If you want to jump into Dave's question there, I'm sure you'll get into that. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no.
want to talk about Dave's question a little bit there as well?
Yeah. He wants to know if the lack of 2 turns, if that angle is profitable. And in this case, I say yes, because I've been against Jack Christopher in the Juvenile actually before what was the Champagne that he won, because it's not that he doesn't look like he can run. He runs like a beast, but his breeding really screams 1 turn to me.
Yeah, it is.
One of my biggest cashes at the Breeders' Cup last year was in this race because I looked at Jackie's Warrior and said, that is a fantastic sprinter. And I looked at essential qualities like that horse is built to run all day long. And then you look at what happened in that race. The Essential Quality ran all day long. Jackie's
Yeah.
Warrior looked like a sprinter. What did we see all year this year? You see Essential Quality runs all day in the Belmont Kentucky Derby. So that was a way to be beneficial there. There's
That
another
was a
race.
big pace meltdown in all fairness to Jackie's Warrior, though. That was a crazy fast pace, and I'm not sure that's going to happen this year. We'll have to see.
Well, there's a couple. I know that Corniche is going to have some speed here.
Yeah.
Based off of the odds that you've got up here, boy, Corniche at 4-1. If you're telling me that I'm going to get Bob Baffert's best 2-year-old who's undefeated, won a Grade 1 routing, and I'm getting him at 4-1, man, hate the center, but oh man, you got to love that horse at those odds.
Well, let me just again, I've got, and what I'm saying, folks, is not official. This is information I've looked into on some very reliable sources. I just want to make sure everyone. I have not heard about Major General. I'm not sure he's going. And again, if you have information, let me know. But Pinehurst is definitely going. Rattle and Roll, Corniche, Papacat, who is actually not on there, is planning on going.
Mm-hmm.
Oviatt Class is definitely going. Command Performance, Jack Christopher. Chris Davis is going to have two. American Sanctuary and Tough to Tame. Giant Game, who, by the way, was a horse that was given out on my show by the Sarge, Nick Hines, who loves this horse. I'm not saying he doesn't love him for the Breeders' Cup, but likes his potential. Just broke his maiden. By the way, recent maiden winners are absolutely horrible in this race, so I just want to throw that out there. I know on your show someone asked about winning map. It is very hard to win off a maiden win. And then maybe a Japan runner who I would assume has absolutely no shot in the race. But those are the general horses that are going. I'll just touch real quickly on what you said, and then we'll get into the next race. As of right now, I'm against Corniche for two reasons, Magic. Number one, he's going to be overbet. And number two, I think there's going to be other speed in the race. He just rode, the rail and got a very soft, easy trip, although he ran well. I'm very interested in Command Performance. I don't know if I get the 10-1 on the day, but he lost to Jack Christopher. He looks like he's going to want two turns. Again, there's a lot of things that have to happen well for you to close and win going two turns in California. But I think Command Performance would be the one I'd be very interested. Any thoughts on anything I just said there?
Command Performance is trading at 9-2, or is that a 9-2 third choice according to
Okay.
David Aragona, who sets the morning line for Naira. So no, you're not getting 10-1. However, this is a great example of something Mike Samich preaches a lot, which is if you like a horse and you're willing to risk it with an international website, this is why you bet these things, because Corniche 4-1 here, he's 5-2 for
Right,
Aragona,
exactly.
and I think that's a lot more likely as well. Command Performance is still a maiden, but one of my favorite horses in racing, Good Magic, entered the Breeders' Cup.
I wonder why.
Was a two-start maiden, and
Yeah.
then won the Breeders' Cup at Telmar.
did.
And so you could very well see something. He's got the pedigree for it. He's got the running style that says if there's a pace meltdown, he's going to come flying. But he's an interesting one here too. So again, if you like the horse, take him at 10-1 now, because you're not getting anywhere close to that race day.
Yeah, you really need to go odds shipping, folks. Don't just bet on the day of. If you have the access to, anti-post betting, I highly recommend you do that. Quick question from District 13. District 13, thanks for joining the show. District 13, you don't have to bet every race in the Breeders' Cup, right? Some people, Magic, are just not comfortable with betting two-year-old races. I used to be that way when I first started, I'll be honest, because I'm like, I don't know the breeding. But I think as you learn more about the game, you learn more about the breeding and connections and intent. I actually like the two-year-old races, and I sort of like the fact that it's a little bit inconsistent. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. I think that's what leads to, higher odds and on higher ROI. But I totally get it, District 13, how you feel that way. Kevin, thanks for joining the show. Mentioned Oviatt Class. I think Oviatt Class, Kevin, is going to be a very nice horse. I don't know if it's going to be at the Breeders' Cup. The horse, I think, might be too far back at Del Mar. We'll have to see. He comes from pretty far back, but I agree with everything else, Kevin. I love the breeding. I think this is a interesting Derby prospect going forward. Any quick thought on Oviatt Class, Magic, before we get on to the next race?
You nailed it. Really think this horse has got a strong chance on the Derby trail. He's got a trainer who loves to run horses if they're good. If they've got a shot, he loves to run them. So
Yeah.
I think that's a horse that's a good one.
All right. Of course, I didn't put this in order of what's on Odds Checker, so excuse me for scrolling.
That's all right.
Let's go to the Juvenile fillies. And again, folks, those of you that belong to my email, I sent out information. I'm going to have two shows specifically for the Breeders' Cup during Breeders' Cup week on the Tuesday and Wednesday of Breeders' Cup week. Tuesday will be the Friday Breeders' Cup preview races. Wednesday will be the Saturday Breeders' Cup races. Magic, I'll let you promote at the end of the show. I'm sure you've got a zillion different shows going on for the Breeders' Cup. So again, folks, if you want real details, once we know the field sizes and everything, we'll get into that. Juvenile Phillies question: does West Coast, you're a West Coast guy, does it matter the experience over the track, and could that be an advantage for horses that are based out there like Ain't Easy?
Del Mar and Santa Anita play quite slow and quite deep and tiring on for the Breeders' Cup. We saw it kind of in the summer. The dirt track there'd be days at Del Mar in the summer where it was just like plodding through mud, and it's fast dirt. You're trying to figure out how that happens. They do it for safety reasons. And Santa Anita, when they came back for the fall meeting, same situation. I think it definitely gives a horse like Ain't Easy a benefit, but it also is a case of why I think you need to have some front-running speed to succeed on the dirt. You touched on it earlier. It's really hard to have a dirt closer succeed in California. It just the way the tracks are set up these days. Echo Zulu is a horse that, like Jack Christopher, looks like she's built to sprint. However, I think there's a lot less talent in this race compared to what we're seeing in the Juvenile, and I think that gives her an edge here. As far as that goes, the Frizette, it was just too good. I couldn't get over how good she looked. And even though she's bred, it looks like to sprint, she just might be so talented, so classy this early in her career, Howard, that she just is better than them at this point.
Yeah, and there, by the way, there's a bunch of horses, and I realize I'm looking at the highlight. We went way too long on there. We'll have to quicken through the races. You're like me though. We love talking. The juices get flowing. A few horses that are on that screen are out. Just let everyone know. Gerrymander, Distinctly Possible, Amore, Mamarina, Ida, Dreamlith. All those horses are out. And unfortunately, a horrible story with Electric Ride, who actually passed away and was second in the Chandelier out there. Why am I drawing up to who won the Chandelier?
Ain't Easy.
Thank you to Ain't Easy. Actually, a horse I bet that day, and I think is a little bit interesting in the race.
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw Juju's map, by the way, in person because I was at Keeneland 2 weekends ago. But anyway, it's a very good race. For those of you that, of course, are fans of this show, I'm hoping it looks like I got a little inside source magic. It looks like I might be able to get Raylu Gutierrez on my shows, me riding Hidden Connection the week of the Breeders' Cup. So, folks, stay tuned. I'll get people more information about that. But Hidden Connection is a very talented horse who won at Churchill. So this is a really good field. I don't think this is as deep as the Juvenile, but I think the top end is very good. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I think top end, this is what is going to be the most of it, which is usually what happens these days.
Absolutely. All right, now let's go again. We're talking about the Friday races first, obviously, as you figure that out, Magic. The Juvenile Turf. I'll tell you what. It's this way almost every year. The Juvenile Turf and the Juvenile Phillies Turf. Oh my goodness, these are going to be some absolute wars. And for people that are going to be complaining, it's going to be a chalky weekend. These are two races I'm going to be going price shopping. How good is Annapolis and Portfolio Company, who ran big buyers in New York, Magic? How do you think, or at least your guess, how do you think they might compare to the Euros coming over?
Well, looking at the Euros, who are, at least right now, are coming over and not really having watched most of their replays yet. This
me
feels
too,
like.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you. I'm doing deep dive on Euros starting this weekend, so I just wanted to get that out there for my viewers. Go ahead.
This feels like the race that's most likely to be won on turf by, well, maybe the turf sprint. This feels like the Americans have a good shot here when a lot of the other turf races, it feels like they don't. I really think that Annapolis and Portfolio Company are both very good horses. I know Annapolis beat Portfolio Company, but it wasn't by much, and it was kind of an oddly run race, only 4 horses. And there not really was much of a pace set up in there. So I'll be curious to see what Portfolio Company will do running style-wise in a bigger field like this one. As far as the Euros go, I know that we saw Albar win the summer at Woodbine.
Yeah.
It hasn't come back super strong. I know Charlie Appleby has won with literally everything he's sent over to North America this year. I feel like if this horse especially gets overbet, I think you could find a little bit of value in this race if you try and go against that horse. But just because I think between Annapolis and Portfolio Company, there's some good ones here. I also think the two horses that the top 2 finishers of the Now at Monmouth did pretty well. Royal Spirit especially who was Annapolis, a stablemate with Todd Pletcher. He had blinkers and looked pretty sharp in that one. So I wouldn't sell him overly short. And you're getting, if he's even on there.
He's
Um,
actually not on here, but again, that could.
he's
But
fifth.
one timer is second choice, and I think he's going in the sprint. So again,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
and he's 15-1 right now for David
okay.
Aragona. So you're getting 15-1 when he's got a horse like Annapolis already going. You could get some value there.
By the way, if you call California racing fans, they just have not done very good California-based horses in general in these races. You see McKinnon there. He's a nice horse, but I don't think he's going to class up to these. The one horse on here that I'll just mention, when you have a horse that breaks through the gate and wins, that's impressive. When he does it as a 2-year-old and he does it the way he does, I'm like, wow, tis the bomb. Might be something very special. It's a little bit of a quicker turnaround. He won at Keeneland. I'm gonna see how he works and see at the draw. But if he's going Magic, I'm very interested in Tis the Bomb. I think he's very, very talented.
Yeah, he definitely has some talent, like you said, to win after breaking through the gate like that. It's pretty impressive.
All right. I see Kevin's got a question. We're gonna again, folks, we'll be here forever. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the juvenile fillies. And I'm going to find it here on the screen. There you go. As I scroll down, you see a lot of Euros here. The question I want to know, and I have to do a lot of homework on this race. I'm sure you do as well. Is this the most wide open race of the weekend?
I think so. Yeah, or well, at least on Friday. I think again the turf sprint's going to be a little interesting, but this definitely feels like a pretty wide open race. And again, but you touched on it. We got to watch a lot of replays here. Boy, and a lot of the horses that are up there. It feels like of all the fields, I update it every day for our Breeders' Cup page on RaceNews.com.
Right.
It changes all the time with who's coming over. Right now, based off of what you're showing there. Wild Beauty at 8-1. There's a lot of value there because I feel like she's going to be close to a price. We talked about Albar winning at Woodbine this summer. This horse won the Natalma, but her buyer I think was 8 or 9 points higher. This horse was impressive. Of the two Applebys that won that day, I thought she was much more impressive. So this is a horse that I'm looking at to come in here and win. Aidan O'Brien, you never know who he's going to send until he sends them, but I know Tenebrism is pretty well respected overseas as well.
From what I see, of the domestic runners, Pizza Bianco, who's not even on there, who is second in the Natama, is coming. Consumer Spending, who is on there, will be coming. Let's see who else. Koala Princess will be coming again. Not everyone knows these horses. Sail By and Kinchin are actually coming. I don't know if they're going to be able to get into the race, but they are going to be coming sent to California, hoping to get in. You obviously got Consumer Spending as Chad Brown. You got Cairo Memories and Helen's who won in California. I'm not a fan of that particular race. Although I will say Cairo Memories did it pretty impressively. But I'm not sure that she's going to class up here. So we don't have a ton of information right now, folks. But it's going to be open. It could be a Euro. It's going to be a 12-horse field going a mile on the Del Mar turf course. It's going to be a fun race to bet, I would say for sure.
And post position is going to matter. It's going to matter for a lot of these, but especially with that short run into that first turn. If you got a horse that you really like and gets stuck outside, you might want to rethink it.
Juvenile Turf Sprint. Is Averly Jane the next Golden Pal? Is she just going to draw off and win? I think she's really good. It's always, turf sprints, I think I said on your show, my least favorite race of all by far. Of course, I love the one who won the last race at Keeneland, barely, but got a tough trip and still won. I can't recall the name of the horse, but you like the one also. So congratulations for us picking and got like $8 on that horse, I think. What do you think of Averly Jane in general?
Boy, she's good, isn't she? That Indian Summer win was that was the one that made all of us on the Racing Dudes team say, yeah, she's probably the next Golden Pal. This race has been run 3 times. Wesley Ward has won the second and third runnings, including last year with Golden Pal, who looks like he could win the turf sprint this year. So, yes, I think if you pretty much in this race, if you're not sure what to do, bet the Wesley Ward horses. This is his race to lose. Twilight Gleaming is 7-1, which is very nice there. She's coming over from Europe, and if she can adapt to North American racing, she's going to be really tough to beat too. So I think really Averly Jane, Twilight Gleaming, those are going to be some tough gals in that race.
You'd have to listen. These Euro trainers are not stupid. You'd have to believe these horses coming over are very athletic. Are gonna probably work on. There are some provincial tracks and other places out in Europe where these horses can race on a turn and they can practice these tighter turns. So you'd have to assume the horses that are coming over Magic are going to be prepped well enough. That being said, it is a pretty tight turn at Del Mar. It's going to be rock hard turf course. A lot of them don't break great. That's a problem too. So I think it's a dicey proposition taking a Euro going 5 furlongs around a bend. However, if one of those horses gets a clean trip, Magic, their turn of foot is silly.
Yep, yeah, but believe Golden Pal was drawn all the way outside in his race.
Yes, he was. Yep.
We just hammered the you know what out of him. We were so confident in him that day. I think we're a big reason he didn't pay very well. Sorry.
Yeah, I actually had the exacta though with shoot, who came second?
There was a longer shot. I don't remember who it
No,
was.
it was he's not Kumar. I can't remember. Anyway, I know I had the exacta. I think it might have been. I was gonna say to Asterson horse. Anyway, if you know on the show who finished second to Golden Pal last year, let me know. I'm drawing a blank. I know that they tried him on dirt this year too. Anyway, we'll move along. It's a turf sprint. I'll probably be playing it only because it'll be part of a sequence. And I am, as I told some people, and not everyone knows, but I am, along with Mike Samich, we are going to be competitors. Come on, Mike, bring it on. There are a few other pretty good players that are going to be there too in the BCBC. So I will most likely be skipping the juvenile turf sprint. I can tell you that right now, unless Everly Jane I love and is 3-1 or 5-2, which might happen. Otherwise, I'll probably be skipping that race. All right, let's get on to the Friday races, or excuse me, the Saturday races. Now, these Saturday races are not going to be in any particular order. I just sort of picked the order, although I think the Classic is the last one we'll talk about. Let's talk about the Filly Mare Sprint. Now, this race is bothering me a little bit, and I think you know why. Because the field size is absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the question. Can Bella Sophia, or really anyone else, beat Gamine? And it looks like right now, Magic's going to be, what, like a 6-horse field? They just talked about the Raven Run, which is going to be run at Keeneland. And that's a 13-horse field. And you got horses like Obligatory and Super Sensational. I have no idea. Listen, maybe I'm just an idiot. I'm not a owner. I'm not a trainer. Wouldn't you like to run second or third in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint as opposed to winning the Raven Run? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but what's your feeling on this race? Is it just Gamine? Just move on?
Uh, yeah, I think so. I have it down to a 7-horse field right now, and the problem with Gamine is going into last year's, it was like, well, how do you beat Gamine? Oh, you send someone after, and they got to go faster. And Gamine said, okay, let Serengeti Empress go. And what'd she do? She set a damn course record. So, she hasn't looked as strong as she did last year. There's no Serengeti Empress in this field. Bell's the one, might be the best, and she needs a lot of pace. Edgeway
If
comes
she's
from
going, she's not even going for sure yet.
yeah, that's right, which is weird because after her last win,
I
Neil
know. So
Peston
I'm
was
going. We have no one respects us. I'm definitely going.
yeah.
Now I'm not going.
Yeah. If anybody beats her, it's probably Bella Sophia. Cece, the trainer, literally sent her to Gulfstream Park because he said that she hates Del Mar, so good luck. Edgeway has got a trainer who's in some hot water right now for a lot of drug positives. So,
Yeah.
if you were trying to beat Juice with Juice, maybe you use Edgeway with Gamine. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
That's as far as Sorry, I forget whose show I'm on.
No, it's cool. No, listen, it's all right. Listen.
I only report the facts, Howard. I only report the facts.
Listen, there's issues in Europe too, by the way, but that's a whole other conversation. U.S. is not alone. Here's my feeling on Gamine. I'm just going to move on because there's not a lot to talk about this race right now. I don't think Gamine is the same as she was last year, Magic. I don't like her lead change is a little bit goofy. There's just her numbers are not as good on whether you look at Equibase by any measure. She is not as fast as she was last year. That's why I'm sort of shocked that everyone is treating Gamine like Secretariat here. I think she can be beat. The problem is I don't think she can be beat necessarily by the horses in this race. So I think she's vulnerable. If I need to bet the race, I'm going to try to beat her. I don't know how or with whom. I guess it'd be Bella Sophia, but Bella Sophia is going to be 5-2, and Gamine's gonna be like 2-5. I mean, I don't know. It's a horrible betting race.
Yep.
I'm just shocked that so many connections are afraid to go in this race. It just makes no sense to me because we've seen bombs that actually in 2017. There's a big bomb that won this race. So and it's happened before. So
Bar of
I don't
Gold.
know. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it was Bar of Gold was the winner that year.
Bar of Gold. Wavell Avenue won at like 6 or 7-1. I liked her that day. This race has not always been, won by Judy the Beauty lost, I believe, right? I mean, so anyway, it looks like it's just Gamine. We'll have to see what happens. Forget that 4-5. She's gonna be 2-5, 1-5.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Did you want to add something else there?
No, go ahead.
All right. A race that I'm looking forward to quite a bit. Here's my question for the sprint, Magic. Can Special Reserve or Dr. Shivel or a new horse that's coming in that people aren't really talking about yet, Matera Sky, who apparently is coming from Japan, or Asia, I should say, can any of these horses put enough pressure on Jackie's Warrior to make the chalk players nervous?
For about 2 furlongs, and then it's over.
Wow.
No, don't be worried. I think that Jackie's Warrior, listen, the best horse in training, regardless of division, distance, whatever, the best horse in training is Life is Good. And if Life is Good was ridden properly, Life is Good beats him in the jerkins. This is the only horse that's ever beaten Life is Good. That is how good Jackie's Warrior is. Now, a rematch in this race, I don't know, Life is Good might get him. There's no Life is Good here. There's Dr. Shivel was on the lead last out because the rein broke. That's the only reason. Everyone's like, oh, he's got a new running style. No, his rein broke and Jockey didn't have control and just said bye and took off. So no, this is Jackie's Warriors to lose.
I've heard some very smart people. You mentioned Life is Good, who think Life is Good could win the Classic if he went there. I'm not gonna make that argument because he's that talented. I'm really bummed that Flightline, by the way, is not running the Breeders' Cup too. That's a whole other conversation for another day. But can you imagine? Last year I said, can you imagine? With in the Malibu when those horses hooked up and they did between was it Nashville and Charlton? Can you imagine? Any of those, maybe at least 2 of those 3, like a Jackie's Warrior versus a Flightline, even maybe versus a Life is Good. That would be, oh man, that would
I'll be there.
brutal.
I'll be there for the Malibu. Let's do it.
All right, I will say, I don't. I think you're probably right. I think this is Jackie's Warrior's race to lose. I don't think anyone's that fast. I will say about Matera Sky. For those of you who don't know about Matera Sky, this horse has been over at Dubai. He's not the same as he used to be. He's from Asia. He used to be better, but he is very fast early. I mean, every race you watch, he was battling out with like XY Jet. And I mean, this horse is super fast. He might have an effect on the race. So we'll have to keep our eye on Matera Sky. The one horse I'm interested in, I saw Aloha West in person, which is not why I like him. But I saw him at Keeneland. This is a lightly raced, I think, 4-year-old for Wayne Catalano. And off the air, I'll tell you a story because Wayne Catalano just happened to be like 5 feet away from me in the Phoenix 2 weeks ago. It was a great, and anyone who knows the race, Aloha West had a brutal beat, lost to Special Reserve. Let's just say Wayne was not happy. But anyway, this is a very good closer. I think he's better going 6.5 or 7. But if things get crazy, I'm a little bit interested in Aloha West, at least underneath Magic. Any thoughts on Aloha West if you are familiar with this horse?
I think you could, if you want a single Jackie's Warrior and then sprinkle 2-3 underneath an exacta key Jackie's Warrior on top and a trifecta, I think that's a good way to go. And you start looking for horses like Aloha West when you're getting 14-1. You look for those price horses that can come up, and that's how you make money. If you don't want to bet Jackie's Warrior, that's how you make money betting Jackie's Warrior. Is you find those right price horses like an Aloha West that can definitely come running late to get the pieces underneath.
Yeah, I mean, someone's going to finish second or third, right? And you call it a clunk up, call it whatever you want. And who knows? Listen, Jackie's Warrior doesn't break. The sprint is crazy. I mean, you never know. We've seen upsets before. So, but I agree. I think to me, Jackie's Warrior is one of. I honestly, Jackie's Warrior is as likely to win almost as Gamine. I know that sounds ridiculous, and I'll get emails and whatever. I just think Jackie's Warrior is that good. That's just so. I think Gamine is regressing, but again, the fields are completely different. All right, let's go to the turf sprint, which I'm going to try to bring up here on the screen. There it is. All right, there is our friend that I tried to beat, Golden Pal. Can closers win going 5 furlongs at Del Mar on the turf?
Oh boy, they can, but it is tough. One thing I noticed at Del Mar in the summer, and tip of the cap to John Lees, who's the simulcast host, for pointing this out to me early in the meet, the inside paths were really fast on the turf, especially in the turf sprints, which is funny because at Santa Anita and in a lot of other spots, you draw the rail in a turf sprint, you either need to gun or you need to drop all the way off and hope for a clean trip circling everybody, because it's a really tough spot to be in. But I think that a closer can do it, but it's going to be really tough for someone to pull up, especially 5 furlongs. Right, Del Mar, that's all they can do
Yep.
for a sprint is 5 furlongs. So it's a tough ordeal.
Again, we have a lot of people watching. I know a lot of people are just sort of watching and listening, and that they don't really have questions right now because, unlike knuckleheads like you and I, people haven't really looked into detail in these races yet. But again, I appreciate all the questions you guys have. Please make sure you throw them up there on the chat. We'll bring some up. Is there a horse that you're a little bit interested in right now of the horses you see on the screen? Either at the odds that you see or ignoring the odds completely.
I'm actually shocked that he's not listed. Lieutenant Dan's been my pick until Golden Pal ran into Woodford. And even then, Lieutenant Dan I might still roll with. Lieutenant Dan's a local. He's a California bred, small time connections, but he has won I think 3 straight stakes. He won the Green Flash Handicap, which is a grade 3,
Yep.
5 furlongs at Del Mar. Then he goes down the hill in the Eddie D when they return to Santa Anita, going down the hill, wins that race looking like a boss. This horse is traded at 6-1 according to David Aragona. Lieutenant Dan is a really sharp horse that loves that track, and I think that's a very key thing when you've got a lot of Euros coming in. You've got Golden Pal, who, some people will have some questions about how he ran and was he fully engaged? Did he seem like he cared that much? So, Lieutenant Dan, you can always trust to get going and come running in a race.
And I like Lieutenant Dan because I love Forrest Gump. I mean but Lieutenant Dan is very good, and I didn't have him in either of the 2 wins that he had. The 1-2 back, I think he was a little bit of a price. The last one he was not. I was trying to beat him. I'm against Golden Pal. I'm just going to say it flat out right now. I know he's good. The Keeneland race was a very easy race. There's going to be a ton of other speed. It doesn't seem like Golden Pal can really. If there's any adversity, I'm not sure Golden Pal can win. Like, he seems like the kind of horse that needs his own way, Magic, because he pretty much has speed and just goes. But so are a bunch of others in here. I did have Gear Jockey at Kentucky Downs. This race is probably too short for Gear Jockey, but he's an up-and-coming horse that I like. I just wish if the race was like at 5.5 or 6, I'd really like Gear Jockey. This might be too quick for him, but I'm against Golden Pal just because I think he's going to be a low price and there's a lot of other speed. That being said, he can obviously still win. So we'll have to see what happens with Golden Pal. Any other thoughts before we move on in this race?
Go as deep as possible if you're playing multis.
And that's probably a good idea. It's gonna be a war. A race that will probably not be a war. And I have no idea what the odds are on here for. I can't believe the odds I'm seeing right now. I have no idea. Ignore these odds, folks, because these odds are ridiculous. Life is good. You can just pull a Liam's map and just blow them out. And what's your general opinion of even having a dirt mile in the first place?
I like it. I think that more Breeders' Cup races is not a bad thing. And I'm someone that writes 14 previews and writes 14 race recaps, and it's very time consuming. So adding more races, you would think would not be something I want. I love the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile because you have the dirt sprint at 6 furlongs. You have horses that, a Maxfield is, well, he's kind of a tweener, and probably 9 is his best. But you got a lot of horses like, say, a Silver State. He's probably best at a mile on a 16th. This is a great race for him. It's not a $6 million purse. People lose their minds, and I don't understand why. This race, by the way, has turned out some really, really impressive winners. Knicks Go, City of Light, Battle of Midway, Liam's Map, Golden Sense twice, Tapazar. Those are all they're either currently breed shaping stallions or they were really impressive horses. So I really don't understand the hate on the dirt mile. That being said, Life is Good is going to win this backwards on 2 legs with a blindfold on.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, Magic and I have never met, but I'll tell you what, we were like brothers from the same mother because I totally agree with you. I don't understand like the hatred that some people have. Like, why is there listen, this is a very nice field. There's really good horses. You just rattled off not only good horses, great horses.
2
horses
Pegasus
that end up winning,
winners.
like the Pegasus World Cup, right? I mean, so I don't understand the hatred. This particular race looks like all Life is Good. One horse I'm interested in a little bit, and I wish that the way that their styles are not the same. Ginobili is getting really, really good right now, Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thoroughly impressed with him. I just read he just worked at 57 at San Luis Rey. I mean, he is absolutely on tilt. The problem is he's got a lot of speed, but so does Life is Good. But maybe underneath, depending on the price, I'm very interested in Ginobili. Any thoughts on him?
I think if anybody upsets Life is Good, this is the horse that does it. I'm with you.
Wow, we
Yep.
didn't talk at all, did we, about that?
No,
Just
no,
because he's sharp, right? Loves the track, blah blah blah.
he is. He's been a frustrating horse for his connections because I know that they've always thought very highly of him.
Yeah.
And they couldn't figure it out. They gelded him at one point. They finally threw the blinkers on him. Back-to-back 100 buyers at Del Mar.
Yep.
Wins the Pat O'Brien Stakes, which was not, by the way, his best style. That was a one-turn sprint. He definitely can. He won a two-turn mile the race before that. The blinkers have just been a godsend for that horse. I think that if anybody is going to upset him, I think that's what it is. District 30 says Life is Good as 7-1. He is 5-2 for Brad Free's morning line right now, and he'll be closer to Jackie's word than he will 5-2.
I will take my very small mortgage and put that on 5-2 on Life is Good. I would, you know what? I might even bet. How low would you bet Life is Good on a win bet? It's a good question. How low would you go there, Magic?
In this field,
Yeah,
with who I think is going to show up,
yeah. But our guess right now.
I'd go as low as 3-5 on him. I'm that confident.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, Art Collector, I believe, going to the Classic.
Yep.
Obviously Jackie's Warrior is not going. I think Silver State will probably be second choice. Would be my guess. He's a nice horse. I've been wrong about him 1,000 times, by the way, this year. But I think he's gotten great trips and great setups. Again, I'm interested in Ginobili. I'm a little bit interested in either Plainsman or Mind Control to clunk up for in the try, but they're not being Life is Good as long as he breaks and I think the race will be over. I agree with you on that. All right, let's get into we have 5 more left. We're doing okay on time with you? We're moving along.
I'm good, yeah.
Terrific, thanks. And again, we really appreciate everyone watching. Hope you're all taking notes. Again, people, if you're not watching this live, you jot some things down. Again, Matt and I are just giving you some things to think about, folks. We don't have morning lines officially. We don't even know exactly who's going to be in. We don't post positions, but it's never too early. You can't start handicapping 14 races for the Breeders' Cup, folks, 2 or 3 days out. You really, if you want to be successful, I think we both agree, you really need to do your homework as far out as possible. Let's go to the Filly and Mare Turf. A race, Magic, as I get to some of the odds here, that is very much in flux with who's coming. My general question for this race, can Warlike Goddess, the best American threat, match up with the Euros?
Until a couple of days ago, I would have said, I don't know, but we lost Althea to retirement, and I thought that she was going to be a big playback out of her first lady, Doug, because I thought she was a great horse who had a really terrible trip and was going to be going longer. But they retired her. Warlike Goddess, I think, is the best horse in this race. You have Adaria, who's the defending champ, who's probably coming back. But otherwise, looking at this, from the Americans, there's nobody that scares me. From the Euros, you respect them, but I don't know. Warlike Goddess, she looks so push button in her last races. I know she a lot of times likes to come from far back, but if you watch especially her last race, I swear, Julien Leperoux just moves his hands once, and she circles the whole field and is gone. And a big thing I look for, Howard, with horses when they look like they're winning for fun, I watch their ears. If you see a horse with their ears just fully pricked up forward and they look like they're just dominating a field, that is a monster horse. I'll just tell you right, that's a key. That's a key that's a good horse. That's Warlike Goddess.
Let's see. Michael Bryan, who is very good handicapper as well. Thank you. Appreciate you watching the show. Here's my feeling. I like Warlike Goddess. I talked about him or her on my show. I'm sure you talked about her like earlier when she was winning at Gulfstream and earlier in the season. I'm not sure who she's beating, Magic. The older filly and mare distance turf horses in America this year, just not that good. Like usually you see the Chad Brown monsters. They just haven't really developed. I'm a bit dubious of who she's beaten, although she's been doing it really, really good. Adara, by the way, confirmed today is coming unless something strange happens. Also coming, Tiona, a very nice overseas horse for Roger Varian, who was scratched out of the Arc because of the soft ground. Aiden O'Brien is considering Love might go here. Mother Earth, Love might be going probably here or maybe the Breeders' Cup Turf. Mother Earth could go here or the Mile. I think Mother Earth will probably end up going here, would be my guess. She had a very tough trip Thundering Knights, a horse that had one of my toughest beats of the year when Mean Mary wired her at Belmont, is coming as well. So there are a lot of horses coming. One horse I'll mention, by the way, Shanta Sar. Have you heard anything? I don't think she's going. I know she just won the Queen
Chances.
E2, but
She is no longer.
okay.
Yeah, she. I took her out of consideration actually today.
Okay. A horse that I just want to leave everyone a thought with. Loves Only You. There are about 7 or 8 horses coming over from Asia this year, which I think is very exciting. The more international flavor, the better. This is
hmm
by far the best chance that Japan or Asia has. I don't know if she's coming from Hong Kong. I apologize. I'm not sure exactly which country she's coming from. By far the best Asian hope this year. Very talented horse. Lost to Mishrif. Second place in Mishrif in Dubai. She's very talented. This is the horse that I'm interested in terms of the foreign invaders. Of course, we'll have to see what the price is going to be. Any thoughts? Are you familiar with Love's Only You at all?
Sorry, I had to mute for a second. My wife
No, no
just got
problem.
home. The
Oh,
dog started
oh,
barking.
sorry about that. Are you familiar with this horse coming in from Japan?
Yeah. She's the Japanese contingent is. I'm familiar with her by name in the sense that I know that they think very highly of her and that they
Yeah,
think highly of her in terms of getting firm ground, which is not always what she gets over there. So
right.
that's as far as I know. Again,
Okay.
like you said, lots of replay watching once we know who's actually
Of
coming.
course. Yeah, she's a nice horse. By the way, Tarnawa not going to be 11-2 and not going in this race anyway. So ignore Tarnawa there. It's going to be a great race. It's going to be fascinating to see how much money Warlike Goddess takes. Magic. I think she's going to take a decent amount of money. I really do because people love seeing 1-1s and she's the American hope. And I'm not saying she can't win. I think it'd be a great story. I'm just not so sure if she classes up. We'll find out. It's going to be fascinating to see a race that I'm actually looking forward to quite a bit. All right, let's get to the Turf Mile. We just have a few left. Again, thanks everyone for joining the show. Now, this race, I think you'll appreciate this question because I have real mixed emotions about this race coming up in 2 weeks. This is the first time I've ever been to the Breeders' Cup, right? So I want to see like the best of the best, and you're not going to see that in the mile. So here's my question on the bottom of the screen there, Magic. Palspier out, Poetic Fleur out, Baid out. Does that make you more or less excited about the race? And I'm assuming you know why I asked the question.
Well, I'm more excited because I am a gigantic fan of Mo Forza the horse. And I think that this horse was my pick to win it last year when it was at Keeneland, and then he got hurt right before
Yeah.
he was supposed to ship over. When he came back, and he has, by his trainer's own admission, not been fully cranked in either start. Didn't look that great for most of his 2 races when he comes back. But this horse, when he turns on the light, when he figures out, oh, I need to go, good Lord, this horse is good. That turn of foot that he's got, he loves Del Mar. I love Mo Forza in this spot. Those horses being out makes it easier for me to hammer him very hard in this spot. However, it also means that his odds are going to plummet. He is not going to be 8-1. Brad Free has him at 5-1. Space Blues being the 2-1 favorite for him. But I would take Mo Forza over everybody in this field, definitely.
Yeah, we also have Master of the Seas coming over for Godolphin. Again, Space Blues, by the way, has never gone beyond 7. So this is going to be very interesting race. Again, you see domestic spending. He's not going to be there. Alcohol Free was going to go. Is he still going? I haven't heard an update on Alcohol Free. Another Euro. I'm not sure.
No, alcohol freeze out.
Okay. All right. So again, this is going to be a very interesting race. Mo Forza is very talented. Because these Euros are out, like a horse like In Love, who I normally would be like has absolutely zero chance. Why not? I mean, he's in great form. I mean, he just keeps getting better. This is going to be a very interesting race. I never would have thought an American would have won this race this year with some of these monsters coming over. But now that they're not coming over, you got to take a hard look at the Americans, I think, for sure, in the Turf Mile. By the way, before I move on, Goldakova, one of my favorite horses of all time, her acceleration in the Turf Miles when she won, 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
staggering. Her first win at San Nita, I think it was, Magic. That replay where she exploded up the inside was like that's when I was really starting to get into Euros and really getting deep dive into Euro handicapping. The quickest turn of foot I think I've ever seen in any race in my entire life. She went from like 0 to like 60. Like just watch Goltakova's first Breeders' Cup win. I think 2010-ish. I'm not sure the year. Anyway, you can look that up. Yeah, an unbelievable horse. All right, let's go to the distaff. We've got 3 more races to look at. Again, Magic, really do appreciate your time. Sorry we're going
Of
a little bit
course.
long here.
No, that's all right. Don't worry.
I think we're giving a lot of great information out there. Here's the key to the race, in my opinion, in the distaff, and it's related to the question. Will Baffert send a rabbit, like possibly as time goes by, to go after Latruska? And can Latruska even lose if she's not pressed hard early?
I think Latruska. Here's the problem I have with Latruska is for months I've been trying to figure out this horse is going to lose. Who's going to beat her? Because the way that the campaign she was having of consistently running against the best horses in her division and dominating them, and then the race at was it Saratoga where she had to really try very hard, and literally every horse in the field took a shot at her at one point.
The personal ensign, it was a very fast-paced duel, and like you got Dunbar Road coming, Bonnie South, they just couldn't get to her.
That was the race. Thank you. Yeah. So that race specifically, I was like, that had to take it out of her. She came back in the Spinster and she won it, but she didn't look as impressive as she had before. I love her story. I love the idea of the connections. This group from Mexico coming and campaigning her just beautifully this year, deserving female runner of the year for sure. I'm going to take a shot with her, and I'm going to use Private Mission, and I'm going to use She Dares the Devil. I think those are the 2 horses that have the best chance to win. They both have wins over the Del Mar surface, and I talked before about how the Del Mar surface has been really tricky. These 2 horses have both won this summer at Del Mar. I think that is a key thing, and I think Latruska, with a very long campaign and a tiring deep track, I think it's going to take its toll on her. Now, the problem I have, there are a lot of people like me who think she gets beaten, and I think that her odds are going to actually go the other direction.
Again, and folks, we've never met. I did not talk about. I didn't call like Magic and say, hey, let's gang up on Latruska. Of all the heavy favorites this Breeders' Cup weekend, I think Latruska is the one I'm really going to try to beat the most. Her race at Keeneland, she won. She was asked a lot in the stretch, and Dunbar Road was coming. I mean, that wasn't like a clunk up second. Now, was she, she wasn't all out. They didn't empty the tank. I understand all that. I agree with you. I just, there's something about this race that I'm going to be playing against Latruska. You didn't really answer my original question. Do you think, now, Baffert's going to have Private Mission? To me, Magic, and listen, Baffert's very capable of team tactics and a little bit of herding, and I don't want to get into the politics and everything. I don't want to talk about whether you like or dislike Baffert, but I will say this. I do not understand why the rabbit has like disappeared from horse racing. I have no problem with trainers setting out a rabbit, turf, dirt, anything. It's very fair. It's a very fair tactic. It's been happening for decades. It seems to have gone away a little bit. So if Baffert wants to take as time go by out there, who I don't think can win, by the way, and go after Latruska, I've got no problem with that. The only problem I do have lately with Baffert and some other people is like purposely hurting horses and like forcing them out in the 5 and 6 path, like they're, blocking linebackers. That I don't like at all. Rabbits, I think, is not the same thing. Is as time go by going to be in the race, do you think, Magic?
I think so. Right now, she is scheduled to go there. She has big connections. I think Coolmore is a co-owner, so they'll definitely want to try and get her in there and see if she can maybe hold on for third, so they can say, hit the board in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. You'd buy her for $10 million. Private Mission.
You think they'd run her with intent to actually try to win the race or be in the money?
Well, Coolmore doesn't have a reason to just throw a horse into a race like the Breeders' Cup. So, but I think that they'll trust that it's Baffert. I think Baffert will try and convince them to do it. Listen, it's Baffert with a female horse in distaff. Sometimes you just, the crazier things happen, right? But I think that Private Mission has got the ability to sit off. If someone goes and presses Latruska, she should get first runner. If that's as time goes by, great. If it's somebody else, I don't know who it is, honestly.
Yeah. Kevin Breen asking about Blue Stripe. I believe the answer is yes. Blue Stripe is a horse that qualified for this race by winning a race in South America. I'm not sure which country. I believe a half sister to Blue Prize or related to Blue Prize. So Kevin, I think she is going. I would give her almost zero chance, but I think she is going. Am I correct on all those points?
Yeah,
Magic?
yeah, she won an Argentina race on May
Argentina.
1st.
Okay.
Yeah, so the thing with horses, there's an article on DRF about it, but horses that come in from Argentina that have done successful, or they're done well at the Breeders' Cup, every single one of them needed to start first. This horse has been in
Yeah.
California for, I think, May is when she showed up here.
Okay.
My photographer was sending me photos of who the hell is this horse at? And yeah, that's who she is. She's also with a trainer named Marcelo Polanco, who is, you said who? Exactly. So if you were sending this horse with intent, you send her to a Baffert, a Sadler, an O'Neill, a D'Amato, a Callahan. He takes a lot of international horses. Marcelo Polanco, Breeders' Cup winning trainer, not something that I think is going to happen. Not this time anyway.
I have two quick thoughts, and we'll move on about this race in general. Other than trying to be Latruska, I'm against Malathaat. I know Malathaat's going to take probably more money than she should. I know it's she's talented. It's Pletcher. She's a 3-year-old. She can improve. I got to tell you, Magic. She's going to have to improve a lot. To me, she's got to improve at least 4 or 5 lengths to win this race. She's also going to be pretty far back, I think, in this race. She's going to be. I'll throw a number out there, 7-2. I do not love Malathaat in this spot. The two horses I'm interested in, I am interested in She Dares the Devil. I'm also interested a little bit here in Dunbar Road. I know that might be just sort of amateur thinking. She's run 2 big races. I've never been a fan of Dunbar Road Magic, but she's improving. She's getting good right now. And if I think Latruse is going to lose, then by default, I think it might be from a closer. And I think Dunbar Road might be the best closer in the race. I also don't believe in Clairiere either at this point. So I'm a little bit interested in Dunbar Road. Any thoughts on, let's say a deep closer wins this race? Is there anyone that you see on the page that you'd be interested in the most?
For a deep closer, God, that's a tough ask on this dirt course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's honestly, I guess if you wanted to go with Dunbar Road, I think she's an excellent horse to use in third on your tries. I think she did it last year at Keeneland. She got up late for third. I think that's what you see from her here.
Okay. It's going to be very interesting. I think a lot of people are going to try to beat Latruska. I agree. And if she wins, by the way, she could very easily be Horse of the Year. It depends what happens in the Classic, but she would be a very deserving Horse of the Year candidate, in my opinion, if she wins this race. And then, again, depending what happens in the Classic. All right, 2 more races. The 2, I guess you could argue, most
The two
most
big ones.
prestigious races, I suppose, of the weekend. Let's go to the turf. Now, Tarnawa definitely going. Mishriff, it looks like he's going. Mishriff was one of my sons because I think I told you on your show, one of the first tweets I ever sent in my entire life was him winning the Saudi Cup, and all of a sudden I became a genius, and I was very happy to get 18-1 that day. If they both go, is it as simple as Tarnawa versus Mishriff, or where does domestic spending fit with those 2 horses?
Boy, this is a fun. Despite the fact that there's only one American, looks like he has even half a shot in hell here. Domestic spending. This is a fun field.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that simple. I think those are your top win contenders, yes, but I think beyond that, I mean, domestic spending. The only blemish on his record really is the fact that he was stuck behind an absolutely paceless Arlington Million and wasn't able to close. And that's not really a shot against him. But then Aiden's got Love. Appleby's got Walton Street that he wants to send back over. And look how good that horse was at Woodbine in the Canadian International.
Magic, I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's a question that I think is important to talk about from the last race from a viewer. Sorry to jump in here.
No. I just saw that
quick racing thoughts. Has a quick racing thought. She Dares the Devil, I guess, has not worked in about 10 days. I haven't heard of any issues, though. I don't know if they're just shipping her over, and that's why. Have you heard anything at all?
I haven't. When I checked earlier this morning, that she was still listed as probable for it, but no, that's interesting. I hope she's okay.
I haven't heard anything either. Quick racing thoughts, but I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue with your discussion of the turf.
No, October 9th was the last time that she worked.
Yeah.
No, that pretty much was it. It's just that I think that there are a lot of potentials here. United is a horse that always outruns his odds against the big, and I don't think he's got a chance to win. But he came that close to beating Bricks and Mortar. No horse got closer than United did when Bricks and Mortar was Horse of the Year and undefeated.
He did.
Nobody got closer to beating him than United did. It was at 2019 on a course that he loves. 2 years later, we're back on a course that he loves. Do not ignore United.
40-1-ish, 35, something like that?
52-1.
Wow.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think we both agree, folks, that Magic and I don't, I hate the rest of the Americans. The Americans is just, and Rock Emperor, by the way, have been chasing all year and then didn't use him in his last race, of course. Um, to me, I'd be absolutely shocked if any American horse wins this race other than domestic spending. What about the extra distance, though, Magic? He has not gone a mile and a half.
Not too worried about it. The way he runs, Chad Brown's belief in him. We had questions about bricks and mortar that way too. People forget
Yep.
that he'd never
Yep.
run that far. I don't know. Can you do it? Can you do it? Chad's like, relax, relax. He's got it. Speaking of Chad, if there is one possible potential upset or bomb as an American, Trip Huven. If he gets loose on the lead, he won
Yeah.
the United Nations Gate to Wire. Speed is deadly. Speed is deadly on turf.
I'm of the sort of interesting horses that are going to be at price. I'm a little bit interested in Walton Street. Now, I have to see the fig. I don't know the time form fig. Maybe you have. I don't know. I know he got a big fig at Woodbine. He didn't beat a lot, but I put this out on Twitter, Magic. Walt Street feels a little talismanic-y right now, like sort of that second string kind of Euro coming to Del Mar. Tarnawa, I don't really have questions on Tarnawa. I do have questions with Mishriff coming off a bad race, although it was because of the softer turf. But
Mm-hmm.
he's had a long campaign. I'm not sure domestic spending. I mean, he'll probably get the distance, but I'm not sure we know really how good domestic spending is. If there's sort of a sneaky horse out there, folks, I'd keep your eye on Walton Street. See what kind of money he takes. Watch his replays. He did race in Dubai early in the year against Mishriff and Loves Only You, and was not that far off. He lost them by a legitimate, 3 lengths, but he's improved since then. I'm a little bit interested in Walton Street. I gotta do some more homework. Any other thoughts on the Turf Classic?
No, I think we covered everything pretty good. It's just a case of who's going to show up here.
Sure. All right. The race. Let's get to it. And you can easily say, well, of course the Classic is the best race of the weekend. I gotta tell you, the top 4 or 5 horses in this race, I am super, super, what do you say, stoked out there, right, in California. Super excited. I never use that word, but I'll throw it out there. I am super excited for the Classic. It's going to be a fantastic race. Here's my question, Magic, as we close out our Breeders' Cup conversation for the Classic. If you had $1 million to bet on the winner, would you take a Brad Cox trained horse or the field? $1
Brad
million,
Cox.
you got to bet it to win. Brad Cox horse or the field?
Brad Cox. Brad Cox.
All right, so it's going to be
Not even a
K-Nix Go
question.
or Essential Quality, huh? Go ahead, talk to the viewers. What do you see right now?
Knicks Go is the fastest horse in this race. Knicks Go has not lost a 2-turn race since he joined Brad Cox. His losses come at 1 turn. Why? Because the damn horse is so weird. He likes turning. I can't explain it. Knicks Go, they said that's what he loves to do is 2 turns. It works. Essential Quality. I've said back in like February, March, that this horse looked like he was going to become a generational horse. And by that, I mean not only what he does on the track, I think this is a breed-shaping stallion. I think 10, 15 years from now, we're going to look at this horse and go, holy smokes, look how good that horse it was on the track and how good he's been as a sire. I think they're going to point to this Classic and say, look how many stars were in this race that have gone on to be successful stallions. So I think if Life is Good was in this race, which is probably not going to be, you definitely could add his name to that too. Knicks Go, I think the only way he loses is if somebody absolutely completely smokes him. The only one I think that can do that, Medina Spirit, and he's a horse that Baffert has said since January is a horse that he thinks is better running from off the pace. I disagree, but you've got that. You've got Cheap Speed, potentially an Art Collector. And then I think if there is a pace duel and something falls apart, it's Essential Quality. I think it's down to those two. And really, if you think about the landscape of the Breeders' Cup and how it's changed, if you had to bet one trainer in one race to win without knowing the conditions, if it's not Brad Cox, who is it? The guy just wins. Look what he did at Keeneland last year. The guy just wins big races.
He's he's fantastic. We're going to differ a little bit here. Knicks Go's the horse to beat and may absolutely just run them off their feet. I am a little against Essential Quality. Maybe it's just because he's not flashy. He's not fast enough right now. He's got to get a lot faster to beat, in my opinion. Actually, it's not really an opinion. I think it's pretty much you look at the numbers. He's not as fast as Knicks Go. He's not as fast as Hot Rod Charlie recently. If you look at Hot Rod Charlie recently, and I know Essential Quality is probably gonna be second choice. So If Essential Quality wins, will I be surprised? No. Will I be betting him on the win end or using him in like pick fours, pick fives on top? Very, very, very defensively. I don't think, you know, he's very grindy. I don't know if grindy wins the Breeders' Cup Classics. I think you need a little bit of a turn of foot even on the dirt. I mean, you saw like Beholder did in the Pacific Classic with that turn of foot on the turn. I don't know if Essential Quality is best on turns. I don't know. I have nothing against Essential Quality. I don't love him. I don't care what Baffert says, but Dino Spirit's going. This horse is going. I'd be
Yep.
absolutely shocked if they sit off and Knicks go. Shocked. And if he gets inside of Knicks go a post position, he's definitely going.
Yep.
Because I think Baffert's like, you know what? If I'm not going to win, at least I'm going to F Brad Cox and Knicks go. It's just because Baffert's got an ego. I just don't see him sitting in this race at all, at all. So the horse that I've liked all this year, and I'm going to stick with my pick, and it's going to depend on the price. I really like Hot Rod Charlie. I think this horse is still underrated. I know he's been goofy in this stretch. I mean, he got DQ'd, at Monmouth. He came over in the Parks race. I think he's improving. I think he's going to set a great trip. I'm not sure Magic if he's best off the pace. That's my only concern is that he seems to be best on the lead right now. I'm sure Doug O'Neill has been working this horse in behind horses because I know they know they're not going to get the lead in this race. I love Hot Rod Charlie. I think I'm going to get 6-1. I'm hoping. Give me your honest opinion on Hot Rod Charlie.
I love how he's progressed over the summer. He won the Haskell. Well, I know it doesn't say it on his resume,
Yeah.
but he won the Haskell.
Yeah.
Wins the Pennsylvania Derby very impressively. He really hasn't done anything wrong either. He's got tactical speed. He can do what he needs to. My issue with him, I don't know how much he loves passing horses. A horse like Essential Quality doesn't win by a lot unnecessarily, but he wins. He loves getting past horses. And that to me, that's a really big thing in a race like this that's so competitive. Who shows that they have a lot of fight? I think that he's got the fight. I think Hot Rod Charlie is a great horse to hit the board. It's a fantastic story. By the way, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile 1-2 horses are coming into the Breeders' Cup
Isn't that
Classic
awesome?
the next year
That's
as
awesome,
top.
isn't it?
It is. It's amazing. Yeah. One thing, and this will lead into me plugging back to the Racing Dudes. One thing that we do every year that's free, that's coming out probably. It's coming out Monday, the 25th. I just found out today. It's called the 14 Trends for the Breeders' Cup. And what we do is Jared Welch, who's the other co-owner of Racing Dudes, is he puts together one trend, statistical trend for each of the 14 Breeders' Cup races that tells you, look, historically, bet the Euros in the turf or bet Americans in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf sprint, something like that. The key for the Classic in years past, and I think for this year again, the average price winning wise is 5-1. So you might have a Knicks go win this race at short odds, but you might have a Hot Rod Charlie at 5-1, 6-1. You've got to look for those little edges. So racingnews.com, starting on the 25th, it is the 14 Trends for the Breeders' Cup guide. It's absolutely free, so it'll be there, and that'll be one of the nuggets, I'm sure, that's in there.
Yeah, you just read. I was going to allow you to prep. Anything else you want to end the show? Anything else you want to prep where they can find information for your podcast?
Yeah, so the best thing to do, follow me right here at Curtis Kalleward, and that's my Twitter handle. You go to racingdudes.com. We have a YouTube channel I mentioned before, so once you're done watching this video, subscribing to Howard's channel, subscribe to us. We have a lot of video previews that we're going to be working hard on for each of the Breeders' Cup races, and of course that inside track to the Breeders' Cup wagering guide, covering both days, including all of the undercard races. We tell you every single bet that we're going to play, what we think. So make sure you check that out. If you're interested in tournament play, I shouldn't tell you this because you're going to compete against him, but Mike Samich is writing a big article for our guide specifically about the BC betting tournament. So if you're someone who's going to be trying to play that and you're like, well, I don't really care about race for race, I want BC thoughts, well, we've got you covered with that one too. So you can go to racenews.com and check it all out.
Magic, if you could just stay on for like 30 seconds when I end the show here just to talk to you, but I really appreciate you coming on the show. You did an awesome job, of course, no surprise there. It's going to be a fantastic weekend in 2 weeks at Del Mar. For those of you watching, thank you very much for watching. And the next live show, again, let me just put on the banner and we'll end the show so we can get Magic out of here. Sorry, that's not what I wanted. There it is. At the bottom, there it is. So, again, next Wednesday, a week from tonight, folks, on the HHH Racing Podcast. It's going to be a very short show just talking about the pre-entries. I'm just going to do a quick 20-minute run through of cross entries and interesting things. And then the week of the Breeders' Cup, Tuesday and Wednesday, you'll find my Friday and Saturday shows. And also, last thing next week, Davey Lane, a great viewer and handicapper from the UK who's won contests, is going to be specifically on my show. It's not going to be a live show, probably about a 45-minute show just on the Euros. So if you're listening to the show, you want to know information about just the Euros, pay attention to the HHH Racing Podcast.
Sorry, what day did you say that's coming out? Because I want to write that down.
Oh, the Euro show?
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I got to talk to Davey Lane because of the time change. We're probably not going to go live. Follow me on. I know you follow me on Twitter, or I can email it to you.
I'll just subscribe to your channel. How about that?
There you go. He's an excellent. He's actually won contests in the UK. He gave out right for this Magic, and I video prove it on during the Royal Ascot meet. Gave a horse out on my show called Rayshun, 60-1. And he won the race 60-1, the biggest plug on my show of the entire year. But anyway, he's a great guy and knows European racing like the back of his hand. So Everyone should check that out. So for Magic, this has been Howard Kravitz and the HHH Racing Podcast. It's been episode 88, Breeders' Cup Show number 1. Look forward to seeing you in the next 2 weeks on the broadcast. Good luck with all your bets at the Breeders' Cup. Take care, everyone. Good night.